Hey, what's up, guys? It is Russo, and we've got a solid Thursday night football game. Tonight should be a banger. We got the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Some of you might know I'm a huge Cardinals fan. I was born in Arizona originally, so not that that's like a big deal, but that's my team, so I'm excited about it. And it's a division game. You know, the Seahawks and the Cardinals have always had like a solid rivalry. I mean, every divisional game seems to be a little bit of a rivalry there, but this one should be good. I'm exceptionally stoked for this one because I'm 3-0 in my Dynasty League and I'm 3-0 in my Redraft League. I'm only in 2 leagues this year. But in my Dynasty League, I've got Jaxon, Smith-Njigba, and Trey McBride. So I'm going to be all eyes on this game for a bunch of reasons. I've got 4 plays that I'm excited about. And honestly, these lines, they've got them set pretty tough tonight. Single game slates are always a little bit more difficult, but some of these lines, I don't know, they're pretty tricky. So what I'm going to be going with is Tory Horton over 5.5 fantasy score. There's a lot of ways you could get that done. That just seems really low to me in full point PPR. We're going to keep running it back with JSN over 84.5 receiving yards. I think this will be a good outing for JSN. The dude can just do everything, and he's started off the year so hot. So taking the receiving yards over again. A lot of his other lines seemed a little bit... I mean, the lines are just kind of tight, like I said. But Trey McBride, we're going to go over 8.5 receiving targets because he hasn't been going crazy with the receptions. It's been solid output for fantasy, but the receptions are actually down a little bit from last year. But the targets should be there. And then Michael Wilson, going to go over 5.5 fantasy score for Michael Wilson too, who I think is an underrated wide receiver. Marvin Harrison Jr. has just been, I mean, we can kind of call it, he's been a little bit of a bust so far with his NFL career. Last week, he had 2 awful drops where Kyler just put it right on the numbers for him, and they would have been big plays too. He's wide open, no one's near him, and Kyler gets it right there, and he just drops the ball. So I think that Michael Wilson doesn't need a lot of action to get this done for us, and Zay Jones is out tonight. So I'm excited about all 4 of these plays. So we'll start breaking it down. If you guys haven't yet, should sign up for Underdog. If you decide to, use code BACKDOOR, and they're going to hook you up with $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Killer platform. Where I live, they actually switched it. It's like the first state that I think they're doing full sports betting. So it's not letting me access the desktop because I usually like to cover Underdog plays on here as well. And I might try to figure out a way to still do that in the future. It's just a little bit of a work in progress, but I do use the platform all the time. They have a lot of specials that they're running right now, and a lot of alt lines. It's a really killer app. So play 5, get 50 in bonus funds when you use code BACKDOOR. And then Chalkboard, take advantage of this. $20 for free, no deposit required. Just put our code in, BACKDOOR. And it's a killer mobile app. They've got a ton of alt lines. They run a ton of specials every day. And if you use these codes, it just helps me be able to put out more videos and whatnot. So I appreciate you if you're using my codes. And if you guys don't mind, do me a favor, just show me a little bit of love, like the video, drop me a comment if you guys have any questions about plays. I'll help you break those down in the comment section with my tools and whatnot. But yeah, goes a long way, and it just helps me be able to keep doing this as I'm pursuing this and other things in life. So let's start breaking down these plays. We've got the over-under here, 43.5. Kind of lower than I was expecting. Both of these defenses are playing solid right now. So I guess I should be expecting that. But I think this opened with the Cardinals with a 1.5 point advantage. Now that spread has flipped to the Seahawks with a 1.5 point advantage. Playing in Arizona, so indoors, don't really need to go over the weather for this one. But yeah, I mean, both defenses, the Cardinals defense has been playing sneaky good. So I guess I get the lower game total, but I also wouldn't be surprised if these offenses can find a way to turn this into a competitive shootout type of game. Either way, it should be really entertaining for a Thursday night, so I'm excited about it. Let's start breaking down Tory Horton here. So for the fantasy score, yeah, the first game he opened up, he didn't get anything done. But I mean, he's kind of killed this in the last 2 games against Pittsburgh. And then obviously against New Orleans, that was just an absolute beatdown. What did that total end up being? 44-13. They had like 27 points in the first quarter, something crazy like that. The Seahawks did, playing at home. New Orleans, I had more hope for Kellen Moore figuring something out than he's been able to so far. That is just an absolute rebuild franchise right now. But I do love Kellen Moore, so not trying to dog him too much, but what a shellacking that was. But yeah, Tory Horton, he went for 11.2 fantasy score against Pittsburgh, playing in Pittsburgh, and then at home he went for 18. We don't need him to do too much to get this done. If we look at the matchup, receiving yards wise, so you have like JSN, obviously the number 1, Cooper Kupp, the solid number 2. Not a whole lot of work from the tight end position. And then you've got Zach Charbonnet, supposed to be back tonight, running back, who's been kind of splitting an even workload with Kenneth Walker. But Kenneth Walker does look like the more explosive, athletic running back. So we'll see. I know Clint Kubiak has been singing Charbonnet's praises all year, and he's kind of, I don't know exactly what he was dealing with, but he dealt with a little bit of an injury, missed last week, and he's supposed to be back tonight. All that being said, Tory Horton, he's getting more and more work each week. Kind of interesting back-to-back weeks of exactly 32 yards. But if we look at the matchup here, it's really soft. The Cardinals are 31st in receiving yards allowed. So, if you wanted to go for those receiving yards, you could. Full point PPR, I'm going to go ahead and take the fantasy score because he has gotten to the end zone a couple times. And then the Cardinals are 27th in receiving yards allowed, specifically 2 wide receivers. Teams average about 164.7 yards a game against them. If we look at the target share, he didn't get anything in week 1, but then he jumps out there and gets 11% and then 19%. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of a trend up here, and he looks good. He looks like that was a solid pick for the Seahawks. JSN just dominating the target share. So we're through 3 weeks now. Not the biggest sample size, but still you're still averaging a 40% target share is just insane. Cooper Kupp has the 2 spot lockdown at 20%, and then Tory Horton's right there at 11%. But this is just 5.5 fantasy score, and every catch we're going to get a full point for it. So 2 catches for 16 yards. No, would that be right? Maybe about that would, I guess we need 2 catches for like 30 yards. Would put us, now I'm doing my math all wrong. Let's see, maybe if he gets 3 catches, we'll be right there. But let's talk about the red zone looks though. Man, look at Elijah Arroyo, rookie tight end. So they haven't been passing the ball a ton in the red zone. JSN 25%, Arroyo. So both of them just have 2 targets in the red zone. So not a whole lot. But some of these guys are just breaking off longer plays. Like Tory Horton, I know he has more touchdowns than, let's see. So yeah, he had 1 against Pittsburgh, and then he had 2. I believe one of those was a special teams crazy return that Prizepicks still gives you the score for that one. So if he happens to break one, my point is if he gets into the end zone at all, this line is crushed. At just 5.5. But yeah, okay, yeah, targets in the red zone, target and rush. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't need to do a whole lot. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here, but let's take a look at his receptions real quick. So yeah, he went for 32 yards against Pittsburgh on just 2 receptions, 4 targets, and then he went for 3 receptions against New Orleans with 4 targets. Obviously, in the fourth quarter, I don't think JSN or Cooper Kupp or any of those guys were playing, so Horton probably got a little bit of extra looks his way, later in the game. But this line, I just feel really solid about the 5.5 for fantasy. Let's take a look here and see what Daily Grind is thinking. Okay, so they like the fantasy score over 5.5. They have it at a 51.1% odds to hit the over. They also like his longest reception over 14.5. Let's look at that real quick. So longest reception. Yeah, so in week 2 he had 1 for 21, and then he had 1 for 14. And what are they showing that line at? 14.5. Okay. I mean, it's not super juiced, but the optimizer thinks it's going to go over 50.43% based off of what all these other platforms are putting it at. Yeah, so the only one that has it higher, it looks like, is FanDuel at 15.5. They're not feeling him going over 2 receptions, and they don't like the receiving yards either. Sorry, I had it set to overs. Let's go overs and unders. Yeah, they're not feeling the receiving yards. So the fantasy score is the top over according to the optimizer. All right, let's move on. We spent enough time on Horton. So JSN, we kind of just got to keep running this back. I told you guys to start, that with the output he had last year, that we were taking his receiving yards, and so far he's just been crushing every time. And I know that this is a popular play, but it's a single game slate. So if I had other plays that I was excited about that weren't so popular, I'd show you guys that too. But small slate, I'm not going too crazy with a bunch of these, but yeah, he went for 124 yards in week 1. I don't have to spend too much time on this. Sam Darnold had a total had something ridiculous. Like Sam Darnold was under 200 yards, and JSN, like, let's just look at the target share in week 1. Yeah, 54% target share in week 1, 29%. So that huge week 1 is obviously like really inflated his target share overall, but still he's averaging at least 29% of the target share. Just ridiculous. And he's just an exceptional player. So I expect him to go over that line again here. Let's see. Dude has just been absolutely paying in dividends. I drafted him in our startup for Dynasty, and I took him in the 2nd round, and a lot of people thought that was foolish, and I had to wait, but now I'm really excited about it. So the optimizer actually has this favored to the under because it is up way at 84.5. I'm still taking it. I think he's going to get it done because he still got it done against New Orleans when he didn't even play, still went for 96. And what I'm excited about here is if we look at the receptions, so he has 9 receptions and he gets to 124, 8 receptions, but then even way down here at a 5 reception game on just 6 targets, he still turned that into 96. If we look at the longest receptions, he's had a 40 yarder in every game, 40 or more. So yeah, and it's just been getting better, 40, 43, and 45. So I'm all over this. We already talked about the matchup, 31st in receiving yards allowed, 27th specifically to wide receivers, and he's just the go-to weapon. The offense runs through JSN. So I'm feeling good about it. Let's see what some other guys did against them, against the Cardinals. So in that last game against San Francisco, Ricky Pearsall went for 117. JSN's better than him for sure. Tedero McMillan went for 100 yards against the Cardinals. He's better than Tet as well. Tet is looking good though, and so is Ricky Pearsall. They're both looking good. But I like to look at what like the top, target, the top like receivers in the past have done against these teams, which is a new feature that Outlier offers, which is awesome. I love that they added this. And you guys can try this app out for free. Just sign up through the link below. You'll get a week of Outlier. I love this app so much. I always talk about it. So yeah, as far as JSN goes on the optimizer, they're not feeling the receptions over 7. They've got that favored to the under, 52.74%. So they have a lot of juice on the under. I know the Cardinals will be focused on him and probably try to take him out of the game, but the dude's just a master separator. So I think that he'll be fine. Obviously, this longest reception looks solid at 25.5. The optimizer likes that, 50.35% odds to hit the over. And yeah, we just talked about it. Every week he's gone for 40-yard reception or more in 3 straight weeks. So 25.5 looks pretty good. Maybe just take that. They like his fantasy score over 17.5. So do I. He's gone for something like 20 every week. And I think he's only had a touchdown in 1 game. And he's still going over 20 fantasy score in full PPR. So they've got that slightly favored to the over, 50.01% odds to hit the over. Even with it on the higher end compared to a lot of these platforms that are putting it out, some are down at 17.3, 17.5. Like it's not like that's like a huge value, but they still like it over. And that about covers it for JSN. Let's move on. All right, so Trey McBride. Now this is the head-to-head here. I believe I have it set to head-to-head. So this is the receptions. This is when I was thinking about taking the receptions, but the reason I like the targets better is last year he just matched up well. I know these teams are both a little bit different. Cardinals aren't that much different on offense than they were last year, but the Seahawks are looking a little bit different. Their defense looks pretty solid compared to last year, but still, the two games he had, the first game that he matched up against the Seahawks, 15 targets, and then the very next game, 14 targets. So a combined, 29 targets through two games last season when they matched up. Let's look at what that target share was. 36% and 35%. So I'm banking on the fact that the way things match up with the Cardinals is Kyler has to kind of go to the tight end position. That seems to be the soft spot. And if we take a look here, the Seahawks are 26th in receiving targets allowed to tight ends, average of 35.3. So teams in general target the tight end about 35 times a game, regardless of who they're playing against. So seems to be that is, and maybe the Seahawks make some adjustments because Trey McBride is kind of the weapon in Arizona because Marv was supposed to be the guy and he just hasn't shown up enough. And they're still trying to get him involved. So I think they're trying to get that figured out. I think that's part of the reason that Trey's numbers have been actually down a little bit in 2025. If you take a look here, he's only exceeded this once this year so far, 9, 7, and then 8. But this is just too big of, this is like too big of a stat here. If both times Kyler went to him 14 or more times, tried to get it to Trey McBride, they still had Marv last year, so I know things are a little bit different, but at 8.5, I think Trey gets at least 9 targets tonight because I think this is, even Vegas is expecting this to be a close game at just a 1.5 point spread. So I'm going with the targets, but you guys can go with whatever you would like. Let's see here. Let's go to the optimizer and check on Trey. See what they're thinking. Oh yeah, we got Benson too. Let me type an M there. Okay, they don't like the receptions at 6.5, so they have that favored to the under. I'm kind of honestly, he hasn't been going nuts with the receptions either. They like the receiving yards over. I saw that was a popular play on Prizepicks too. So let's take a look at that real quick. Not receptions, receiving yards. Now in the head-to-head, that line was at 63.5. So the receiving yards, yeah, he went nuts in the first matchup, 133, and then he went for 70. So he still cleared it, but just by a little bit. It's not as much, and that doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean that everything is going to be like last time they played the Seahawks. I'm not trying to say that, but yeah, that last game against San Francisco, he went for 43 receiving yards. He's only exceeded that 63.5 once this season against Carolina. So I'm just, these targets are just screaming at me here with that just looks too good, the head to head. So I'm banking it on that. You guys don't have to if you don't want to. Let's see what else they like. They're not feeling the fantasy score at 15. They like the receiving yards over. They're not liking the longest reception. And that's about it. The optimizer isn't picking up a bunch. They're not feeling the receptions. Yeah, the receptions make me a little nervous. He's absolutely capable, but 6.5 with the way things have been going, trying to get Marv more involved. I like the targets better. So Michael Wilson, last two times that they played, he had some big plays. And let's go to 2025. So hasn't done a bunch receiving yards wise on the year yet. But he's had a touchdown, right? Let's look at the actual fantasy score on the year. Okay, so yeah, he just had the one spike game where he caught the touchdown against Carolina. Didn't do much against San Francisco, didn't do much against New Orleans. So go with your gut. I'm just feeling this with Zay Jones out. And in the head-to-heads, he's cleared this both times. He went for 7.4 and then 13.7. And a big part of that, I believe he did this on just 2 receptions in each game. So if we take a look at the receiving yards, 54 receiving yards first matchup, and then 57. And then receptions, yeah. So he had 2 on 4 targets and then 2 on 3 targets. So 2 receptions in both games, and got the fantasy score done, I believe. But this is what was wild to me. Longest reception, he had a 30-yard reception and a 41-yard reception in both of these games. Average yards per reception, 27.8. So yeah, maybe just the receiving yards is what you might be considering at 23.5. You could do that. I'm going to take the fantasy score just in case he gets in the end zone. But yeah, the receiving yards might be the safer route if you'd rather take that. Let's take a look here and see what they're thinking. They looks. I'll show you guys the rest of the options, but yeah, they're showing Kyler's under on his rush attempts there. So yeah, they do like the receiving yards the best at 23.5, 51.29% odds to hit the over. They like the longest reception over 14.5. That looks great too. Let me just type in Michael real quick so we're not getting these defensive stats as well. Okay, fantasy score, they do like to go over. I kind of was thinking maybe they wouldn't like it, but they do. 50.76% odds to hit the over. And it's at 5.5 on Prizepicks. It's at 5.8 on literally every other platform. So you are getting a little bit of a bump there. But there's a lot of different ways you can get this done. Obviously, with this low of a line, if he gets in the end zone, we're cashed immediately. But Zay Jones is out. Marv has been dropping passes. Trey can't do, McBride can't do everything. Also, we have no more James Conner for the rest of the season. So Trey Benson does look pretty solid. His lines do look pretty inflated though, and we haven't seen it yet with him getting the full workload. Tough defense for your debut. So I'm not really, if I looked at anything with Trey Benson, I might be looking at like his receiving yards because he's been getting active within the receiving game. But James Conner, who's typically a solid pass catcher, I know he hasn't been doing a ton to start the year, but you got Zay Jones down, you've got James Conner no longer there. Trey Benson is a solid replacement for Conner. I think he'll do well. He's a solid pass catcher as well, but it just hasn't been done yet. So I like maybe Michael Wilson to be able to get a little bit more involved since he's already been playing full-time snaps with the Cardinals. Let's look at some bonus plays here. This is set just for tonight's game. So all these plays will be just for tonight, obviously. So the Kyler rushing attempts, I might just pull this one up and show you guys it. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm gonna go on Outlier and I'll show you guys this because I thought about taking his rushing yards and then there's Kyler right there. Then I decided to pump the brakes a little bit and I'll show you guys why. So where are the rushing? Kyler's been making, they've made it a point they want Kyler running more this season. And so, yeah, he's gone every week. He's hit at least 6 rush attempts. And he's even said himself he wants to run the ball more, use his legs, because the dude is a great scrambler. Like he's just hard. It's hard for guys to get him. And so I'm happy that he's running the ball more. Rushing attempts against, it looks solid. Seattle's 22nd in rushing attempts against. So on average, there's like 28 rush attempts against them. So that doesn't mean that's all quarterbacks. I think that's everybody combined. But if you take a look here, because I know that those rushing yards were kind of popular. So let's go to the actual rushing yards. Where are we at? He didn't run the ball much against them last year when they matched up. Oh, come on. Am I just like tripping? Where are we at here? There we go. All right. So yeah, he's cleared that 29.5 line every week. Kyler has. If we look at the head-to-head though, he went for 9 and then he went for 16. Also though, that goes into the attempts. He had 2 rush attempts in game 1, 3 in game 2. And if you look at rushing yards against these Seahawks, they're 7th in rushing yards allowed and then 5th against quarterbacks. Rushing yards allowed, they're averaging 10 to quarterbacks so far. So yeah, tough matchup. And it's just that's why I said some of these lines are just right on the money, hard to gauge. So if we go to 2025, yeah, he's averaged 6.7 rush attempts through 3 weeks, and I think that's why This is super juiced to the under 6 because of the way he's matched up against them. He hasn't gone for more than 3 in the last 2 times he played Seattle. And they're tough against quarterbacks right now. God, I'm so stoked for this game tonight, though. All right, let's look at some others here. So Greg Dortch, yeah, this one might be pretty solid. His line is at just 14.5 with Zay Jones out. He is going to get a little bump in usage tonight. So Dortch is actually, he's an undersized wide receiver, but he's so gritty, and I think he's a really solid pass catcher. The dude just like catches passes that you wouldn't expect him to. Like, he's a very gritty dude, plays much bigger than his actual size. So 14.5, I think that seems solid with Zay out and with Connor out now, because like I said, you don't know where some of these extra targets are going to be. They're probably not all going to just be inherited by Trey Benson, when you're talking James Conner's targets. Sam Darnold, fantasy score, they like him over 14.5. So do I. I just typically only take rushing plays for quarterbacks because the correlation, the way it penalizes your multiplier, it's kind of like in a single game slate. Like, yeah, I'll take stuff like this if there was no correlation, like on a Sunday slate or even like a 2-game slate, you can kind of get away with it, but I don't really bother with it. But if you want to take that, 14.5 does seem low to me as well. They have it at 52.31% odds to hit the over. Same with Kyler Murray. I think 17, we'll see. I think that he's very capable of getting over that, but due to correlation, I'm not really messing with it. I think that this Trey Benson under, I'm not taking it under, but I do think that line is set pretty high since we haven't seen him take a full workload yet this year. Longest reception over 11.5. I think it sounds solid. He's been getting a lot of pass work, especially like breaking off out to the side. If you guys have been watching any of the Cardinals games, he's been doing that quite a bit, and he's been successful. Trey Benson over 14.5 rush attempts. Maybe. DeMarcado is the backup now to Trey Benson, and he hasn't really been getting any rushing attempts. So maybe this does end up working out. The optimizer likes it. 14.5, favored to the over, 51.82% odds to hit the over, -128. Zach Charbonnet, over 10.5 rush attempts. I'm just nervous about that because he didn't play last week, and he hasn't been productive with the attempts. He's been getting the work, which I'm excited about because I have him on my dynasty league, my dynasty team, but he hasn't been very productive, and Kenneth Walker has been great. So I don't know. Do they give him 11 rush attempts tonight? We'll see. It's first game back from injury. The optimizer says yes, 51.72% odds to hit the over. They like Kyler Murray passing yards over 212.5. There's also a discount on Prizepicks if you saw that. My lights are tripping, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on, but my entire place, the lights have just been flashing for like a week now. Kenneth Walker, they like him over 49.5 rushing yards. So do I, personally, especially at 49.5, because everyone else, well, not everyone, but we're seeing a lot of 52.5s, 51.5. So 49.5 is a solid deal. And he can break this off in like 2 or 3 plays if he finds a hole. Like, the dude is very athletic. His only issue has always been just staying healthy because he's just an absolute machine when he is healthy. They like his longest reception over 7.5 if you want that as well. Michael Wilson, 23.5 receiving yards. We talked about that. I think it looks good too. I think this looks good too. Sam Darnold, over 2.5 rush attempts. Yeah. I mean, just about any quarterback. There's a chance they could scramble 3 times in a full game, especially in a game with a 1.5 point spread. That's going to be close. Cardinals defense has been solid, so it's not like he's going to really get designed runs. Maybe like a goal line, but yeah, I mean, 2.5, that was tempting. And it is a rushing play, so it's not going to like penalize you with the correlation. So that'll probably be in one of my slips tonight. They've been liking the kickers. So Chad Ryland, they like him over 7 kicking points. The kickers in this game, there's been a lot of juice, but they've been bumped since. But earlier, let's see, did we see Myers? Myers was at 1.5. Prizepicks may have taken that down. Let me refresh this. Yeah, I mean, if you see it, earlier Myers was at 1. So they like Myers kicking points over 7. I think both of these kickers look good tonight. 51.94% odds to hit the over on the 7 kicking points. But that 1.5, if that hasn't turned into a goblin yet, it was just a regular play earlier. So yeah, might take a look at some kicker combos later too. If you guys want to come join our Discord, you can sign up through the link below through Patreon. We have a fun community. I try to put the plays out as soon as I can, and we have some analysts. Like any plays that we're putting together, they all get shared in there. And then the community is just fun during the games. We all hang out and chat and stuff and talk about news, and usually post like stuff from the tools in there as well. So if you want to come join us, that information is down below. You sign up through Patreon, and then if it doesn't take you straight to the server is in the description as well if you need to get back there. All right, so I think that about covers it. So Greg Dortch's longest receptions at 11.5 and his regular receiving yards is at 14.5. I would just take the receiving yards. AJ Barner over 4 fantasy score. This might be worth a look. 50.39% odds hit the over because Elijah Arroyo is actually, I think he's like somewhat questionable. He's dealing with some sort of like lingering minor injury. AJ's been getting the start anyways, so he doesn't do a whole lot, but 4 fantasy scores so low. Like 2 catches is probably there for you. Marv, I gotta see it. They like him to go over his receiving yards, 48.5, 50.34%, but I need to see the dude start catching the ball. We know he's a beast. We know he's like, he should be good. I think he's just in his own head right now. It's just been kind of piling up on him. But the dude needs to just chill and focus. Take some alpha brain. Kyler Murray pass completions. I think I've done enough of these for you guys at this point. But yeah, Sam Darnold passing yards. They like both of those to go over, and you guys can kind of just pause and take a look if you want. And it's going to be fun. But as always, I appreciate you guys tuning into the show. Going to be doing a lot more come Sunday. Obviously, the single game slates, there's only so much we can get into. But don't forget to like the video. Hype up the channel if you guys don't mind. There's that little hype option now. It helps me out a lot. But yeah, as we continue to go through the season, you guys showing me a little bit of love just kind of keeps things going, because this obviously is not my full-time gig. It's just like something that I've been doing because I enjoy doing it, and kind of built a community, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. So drop me a comment. All that stuff helps out a ton. Have a great night. Enjoy this game. God bless. I'll catch you in the next one.